Hello Stampers, it's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie, and today I'm here to show you 3 projects using a bundle from the Stampin' Up annual catalog, and that is Arrange a Wreath. And today I'm going to show you these 3 projects and using these items and a couple other items too. So let's go ahead and get started, and while I gather my supplies, if you're following me on YouTube today, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down in the right hand corner so that you never miss a post. Also hit the little bell icon afterwards, and that will give you notifications of all of my new upcoming videos. So again, today I'm going to show you how to create 3 cards, and we're going to make one very simple card, and then we're going to kind of step up from there. So the products, again, I'm going to set these aside for just a minute. We're going to be using the Arrange a Wreath bundle, and it has all these fun words here, so you can use it for Easter or Christmas as a partridge in a pear tree, a heart, in the dies, a pear. So let me show you real quickly what is in the die set. So here you get a lot of pieces. We have 2 wreaths, one is the leaves and one is the flower. There's a bow, and again there's the heart. There's several different flowers in here. There's a cutout for the partridge and the pears. So we're not going to be actually using a lot of the pieces in this today, but I wanted to show you all of the coordinating pieces. You'll be seeing more projects coming up as we get a little bit closer to the holidays. The other set we're going to be using is this one here called Peaceful Moments. And this one is a really nice set because first of all, I like the font, but I also like there's so many greetings. Happy birthday, sympathy, thank you, congratulations. There's really something for everything. Now, if you're looking for any of these items, I'm going to leave a link in the comments below. So if you need them, you can click on the link and head over to my store and make a purchase. I would appreciate if you choose me as your demonstrator. Now, the next thing I want to show you real quickly before we start is just a couple of the papers that we're going to be using today. And this is one of the new fall papers that's in the new holiday catalog. It's called the mini catalog, and this is a gilded autumn paper, and if you haven't seen it, you're gonna love it. It has a lot of accents of copper and gold, lots of nice colors that don't have to be used just for fall. That's what I like about it. It's very versatile and can be used for any kind of cards. And then of course I'm going to go ahead and flip this over so you can see the back sides. So it's, as I said, very versatile to use year-round. It's definitely going to be a paper that you are going to be wanting to add to your wish list. Now that is in this beautiful autumn bundle or suite here. And I'm also going to be using these punches. You'll see me use these later. These are one of my favorite items, and they come as a trio of punches, and they're going to be real nice for adding on to our projects this fall. So this is the first paper, and then I just have a couple other papers that I wanted to show you real quick. This one here is the brushed foil paper, and I believe the colors are, there's a darker color, and then there's like a champagne color, and then there's a gold color. So hopefully you can see there's just a little bit of a brushed look to these, and they're going to add a lot of texture and dimension to our cards this fall. And then the last thing, this is in the annual catalog. It's called In Good Taste, and I just wanted to show you because there are just so many paper designs in this pack. So you get lots and lots of paper. This isn't a normal paper pack. Lots of different designs. There's this kind of looks like a burlap, and there's lots of wood grains, and then if you turn it over, of course, there's more. There's something for everyone, and these make really great masculine backgrounds. So I wanted to show you this one, and we're going to be using the wood grain paper from this one. So let's go ahead and get started. And again, I'll bring the projects back in real quick so you can see them. We're going to be making these 3 projects, and I'm trying to get back to doing a little bit of simple stamping. So our first one is going to be this one. And I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper here. And Let me grab my supplies real quick. And this one has a big stamp, so I need to grab my great big block here. And we're going to create this card using just pretty much one layer. So I have an old olive back card base, and then I just have a piece of Whisper White. So the old olive card base is cut at 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, and we're going to take that and fold it right in half and burnish the edge with our bone folder. I'm going to set that aside for just a minute. I have a piece of Whisper White cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and another piece of Whisper White cut at 3/4 of an inch by about 4 1/4. We're going to cut a little bit off on the end, so around that is good. I'm using my old olive ink, and I'm just going to ink my stamp up here. And when I have a big stamp, I like to bring the ink to the stamp. And I'm going to start with my largest one so that I know where to go from there. And I'm going to turn it and just maybe stamp one over here. And this is just random, wherever you see fit on the front. And then I'll do one more, I think right here. And then we're all done stamping. So let me wipe that off real quick because I don't like to accidentally put my stamps or paper in my projects or my hands in my ink, and then I get it on something else. So that's all the green that we need. Now we will need some basic black ink for our greeting. And again, I'm going to be using the Peaceful Moments. And I liked the greeting, life is better with a friend like you. So I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to keep it to the far right because I'm going to, I'll bring the card over here, just make a little angle there. And I need to pull this off camera so that I can stamp without making it crooked. So there that is. And then I'm just going to get my paper snips and go ahead and snip off the edge. Right over here. And then we're ready to assemble. So I'm going to move my scrap paper out of the way. I'll bring back my card base, and so I'm just going to turn that over. Put a little adhesive on the back. Add it to the front of my card. And then I decided to put my greeting on with a couple dimensionals. So I'll put those right on the back here. And then the last thing that I wanted to do is, you could leave the card just like this because I do like it. I'm lining this straight edge over here on the left, and then you can put that anywhere you want on the card. If you wanted to put it up a little bit, or you can leave it down towards the bottom of the card. So again, you could leave that just like that, or you can add a few little rhinestones. So you can see on this one I added some rhinestones. I'm using the Holiday Rhinestones Basic. So I'm just going to use this red, and I'm not even sure which color red this is. Might be Cherry Cobbler, but it might be Mary Merlot. And I'm going to add a few little berries on my wreath. Here and there. And then call it good. Now I wanted to show you that in that stamp bundle, there are these little flowers right here, and you could easily just punch these flowers and arrange those on your wreath. You could even put a little rhinestone in the middle of those. I decided to leave the rhinestones on there instead of punching a bunch of pieces out, just to keep it a little more simple. But like I said, even if you didn't want to put the rhinestones on, you could leave it just plain and it would be perfect. It's just enough stamping, and I always say it's more what's inside of the card, the greeting that you're sending to someone, telling them you're thinking of them, that's more important. So get those cards in the mail and make someone feel special. A lot of people right now are feeling down because of being locked in. All different states have different rules right now. So I know someone would enjoy to get a card in the mail from you. So this is card number 1. I'm gonna set that right over here. And then I'm gonna bring you to card number 2. I'm gonna grab my pieces for this one. Scooch this over a little. I'm using Highland Heather. That's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Old Olive cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm using that pretty wood paper. This is 3 3/4 by 5. And then I did go ahead and use the dies to cut out the flowers and the leaves. And I have a piece of Whisper White cut at 3/4 inch by 3 3/4, so it matches up this wood paper. And then using those same dies, I did cut out some hearts. So that's what we need for this, and of course a stamp to stamp on the front. So I'm gonna put a few of these pieces aside, and I think what I'll do first is do my stamping. And for this one, I'm going to use Thank You from that same stamp set, the Peaceful Moments. I really like the font in this set. It's kind of curly and it just looks fun to me. So I stamped my thank you right there. And then we can start assembling. That's all the stamping we have to do for this card. So there are a couple parts that we have to cut out, but I tried to keep it simple with just a little bit of stamping. So I'm gonna burnish that with my bone folder. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my Pear Pizzazz on the front because I'm not doing any stamping to this piece. And then I can put my wood grain because I'm not stamping on this piece either. And I'll put that right on the front. And then my little greeting can also go right on the front. And I'm going to keep it down here at the bottom so there's enough room for the wreath. And then I'll put my hearts on there. 2 of them I'm going to adhere with just regular adhesive. And then 1 of them I'm going to use part of a dimensional to pop that one up. So I'm just going to put a dimensional that I've cut in half on the back there. And then I'll pop that one up. Whoops, I gotta move it over a little bit. It was running into my words. Okay, now what we need to do is put these 2 pieces together. Now what I did in order to intertwine them a little bit is I just cut this one in half. And then I just kind of weaved it around this purple one here and just kind of tucked it back behind and around wherever I saw fit. There's no right or wrong. That just helped me to kind of make the pieces weave together just a little bit easier. So again, I'm gonna weave this around, bring it in the middle, kind of weave it around. We're going to use some adhesive, so don't worry if it's not staying together all the way, that's okay. So looks like this one wants to come apart a little bit. Let's see if I can tuck it under there. And I'll tuck it under there. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to turn this piece over very carefully, and I have my liquid adhesive. And I'm just going to put some few little random dots on the back. You want enough so that the purple pieces stick and the greenery. So now you could run these through some of the adhesive cling sheets that Stampin' Up! Has. I forgot to do that, so I'm just going to use the liquid adhesive. And I want enough so that all the pieces will stick down, but not so much that it's oozing out at the seams. Okay, so I'm going to carefully, again, pick that up. and bring it to the front of my card. So of course, if you wanted to step this up, and I'm just going to hold this just for a minute so all the pieces adhere really well. Again, if you wanted to step this up, you could cut some of those little flowers. I cut these in pink, so obviously you wouldn't use pink, but you could add some more little flowers in here of a different color. Actually, I kind of like the pink. Maybe I should add those on there. I wasn't planning to, but you can. You could also add some more rhinestones. You could add a little bow at the top because there's a bow in that, the die cuts. You could add a bow at the top, but I was just trying to keep it a little bit simple so that it didn't get too carried away, but I kind of like these flowers and I wanted to show you them on a project, so there they are. I think the pink adds just enough little something. Which one is your favorite? You like it with the pink flowers on there or no pink flowers? Now again, if you had it like this, you could add a few little rhinestones if you wanted to, and that would be fine, and I can even show you what that looks like too. We could step this one way up. We'll just add a couple little rhinestones in the middle there. I'm using those same holiday rhinestones. These are Pool Party. And I don't think that it adds too much different color, so there we go. That one is all set. So now we're on card number 3. And card number 3, I wanted to use some more of the elements from the die cuts. So I used the wreath, and then I'm using that triple punch pack with the little leaves with the oak and the maple leaf, and then also that Thanksgiving or fall, I should say, paper pack out of the 6-month catalog that we have. So let me grab the parts for that. And here's what you need. I'm using Early Espresso, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Cajun Craze, and that's 4 by 5 1/4, and I did run that through the Subtles embossing folder. I thought that it gave it just a little bit of texture, and I liked that. I did cut this piece right here out of the nested stitched labels, and then what I did is I just cut a little bit off the end, however much I wanted at the bottom. So I have this in 2 pieces. One piece is going to go here, and one piece is going to go here. And I will cut that off. I know it's too long, but I did just cut it right out of the paper. So you can see on the back, I could use either side, but I'm gonna use this side. And then I did cut already the wreath, and that is in mint macaron. I already tied a bow, and this is with our new ribbon. And this is called the embroidered ribbon. It's very, very pretty. You can see it's got a lot of texture. It's a weave ribbon, and it's really pretty. Ties very well. I like it when bows stay tied really well. So I'm going to set that aside for just 1 second so that I can do a little bit of the stamping. And let me just get my stamps for that. I am using, had to clean that off really quickly. In this Arrange a Wreath, there's this piece here, and I looked at it like it was a little a sign. So that's what I'm going to be stamping. I'm also going to do the Give Thanks. So let me bring those pieces over. And first of all, I'm going to start with the sign piece, and I'm going to do that in Sahara Sand onto a piece of very vanilla cardstock. And then I'm going to stamp Give Thanks, and I'm going to use Cajun Craze because that's the color of the cardstock, and I thought that that matched really well. But you could use a different color too if you would rather. Leave me a comment and let me know, do you send out Thanksgiving cards? Or I think this is also a great set for place settings or table settings if you wanted to list what kind of foods you were having at your event so people knew. But I do like to send out cards in the fall, and I really like to send out Thanksgiving cards and this actually just could be a thinking of you card. It does not have to be necessarily a Thanksgiving. You're just giving thanks for the person that you're sending the card to. So this doesn't have a framelit, but it's just a rectangle. So I'm going to cut that out. And while I'm cutting, I would like to invite you, if you haven't already, come on over to my Facebook at facebook.com/StampItWithDebbie and join us over there. We do some fun things over there and get to know each other. So I would love it if you would come over and click the follow button and play along with us. All right, so I'm using the punches here. These are these leaf punches, and I'm just punching a couple leaves out of the Cajun Craze. I'm actually going to punch an extra one because I want to put that on the inside. And then I'm going to bring in the other leaf, the oak leaf, and I'm using Bumblebee. And I'm going to punch 3 of those. Actually 4 of those because I wanted one for the inside of the card. And then I'm going to use that brushed paper that I showed you and punch some more. And we have leaves flying everywhere. There they are. Clean up my work area. So now all we have to do is assemble. All right, so I realized as I was punching something for the inside of my card that I forgot to bring a piece of Very Vanilla. I would put Very Vanilla because that's what my background paper is, so that's okay. Now I do need to adhere these 2 pieces to the front here, so what I'll do is I'll put some adhesive on the back of this piece. Now this is going to face upward. And this piece here that I cut off about 1 3/4 inch. Now I want this piece, the points, to be facing each other. So I'm going to match the points up however close I want them to be together, adhere it down, and then I'm just going to take my paper snips, turn that over, and snip off what's extra. I probably could have just snipped a little bit off and it would have been just fine, but I wanted to make sure that they were real close here. So again, we are going to want to take some adhesive, liquid adhesive, or use the cling adhesive and run it through the Big Shot with that on there, which would be perfectly fine. I'm just going to do this with my liquid adhesive. And I made my wreath off to the right just a little bit. Kind of more centered, I would say centered in the card and then these nested pieces are more to the left. So there's that. And then I'm going to use a dimensional for my sign piece here. And I'm going to put that right in the center. I guess before I go too far, I think that's a little bit crooked. I better adhere this piece. Now when I'm using a piece of cardstock that I'm adhering to a base, and if there's a lot of embossing on it, I like to use liquid adhesive. Now the Subtles doesn't have a lot of embossing, but it is over the whole surface of the card. So I'm going to use the liquid adhesive. I just feel like it gets in the nooks and crannies a little better. So I'm going to put that adhesive on there, bring my card base over, and adhere it to the front. And I'm just going to make sure that it's adhered really well, because like I said, there is a lot of texture there and it's over the whole surface of the card, and I just want to make sure that it adheres really well. So then the last thing we need to do is put our leaves on. So I'm going to start with my Bumblebee, and I'm going to just tuck them in wherever I see fit. Just a little adhesive on the back. If you wanted some of them to pop up, go ahead and add a dimensional, one of the mini dimensionals. That would be fun. You could spread the leaves around the wreath instead of having them all clustered here. I did add the brushed, like the coppery papers. I thought that it just added a little dimension to to the card. I'm always looking for ways to add a little bit of dimension. And just a few more here. I really love this punch pack. The pieces punch out very well, and they make great little fillers if you need a little something, you know, when we're stamping, we need a little filler on something that we just have a little empty space. So this is going to be a great piece to use, or punch to use for this fall. I was just checking the placement of my bow so that I made sure if I put the bow on there, it wasn't going to cover my leaves up too much. And then I just have one shiny one left. And I'm going to tuck that, I think I'm going to tuck that back in there. So it just kind of is, oops, stuck to my finger, is off a little bit. Now if you wanted to, you could add some that are kind of falling off the wreath just a little bit. That's okay too if we wanted to add those there on the side, and maybe I will just go ahead and add those real quickly. Take up a little bit of room on that side. And then the last thing that we need to do is add that bow, which I told you I already tied with the new ribbon. And let me just add a little adhesive to the back of that. And we're going to stick the bow right on there. So there we are, 3 fun projects. They didn't take very long at all. And that is using, again, the Arrange a Wreath from the annual catalog, and also Peaceful Moments. And don't forget about the little leaf punches and the little acorn punch. Those are available in the holiday mini catalog. And if you need any supplies for this or any other projects, you can visit my store at stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net, and I'll leave a link in the comments below so that you can have a link over there. If you do not have a demonstrator and you need a holiday catalog, leave me a comment and I would be happy to send one out to you. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I'll see you in class again real soon.